A retired police officer says he was asked to leave a Hudson Valley campground after refusing to take down his thin blue line American flag. News 12's Blaze Gomez says the story you'll see only on 12.
You asked me to take my American flag down?
Retired Miami-Dade police officer Eric Reynolds started recording Tuesday when he was confronted by campground staff in Accord for his choice of American flag.
I thought he was messing with me.
Reynolds was shot in the line of duty in 2013 and awarded for exemplary service. The 51-year-old suffers from PTSD and retired last year as a result. He now travels the country with his family in their camper and says Thousand Trails Roundout Valley Campground is the first place to take issue with his thin blue line flag.
I go from 0 to red, and that's what the PTSD does. And that's why I got out of police work. You can tell I even get...
Reynolds says he was told to remove it or leave. He eventually complied and took it down. We went to the campground ourselves on Monday.
A lot of American flags.
And saw many flags, even a thin blue line flag inside the windshield of another RV. The campground's website lists what flags are permitted, but Reynolds says the rules aren't clear. We reached out to the campground for comment and left a message for a corporate representative to return our call. As for Reynolds,
I'm going to turn it around and make something positive out of it.
He says he's gotten a lot of support since the encounter and isn't sure if he'll camp here again. In Accord, Blaze Gomez, News 12.
What's going on, brother?
What's up?
Ain't much at all. Just giving God some praise, glory, and honor for what he has done for me on this day, bro. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Excited to talk to you. I can't believe I'm talking to Van.
Man, please, I can't believe I'm talking to you. You the one that did some amazing, remarkable things. Pretty much put your life on the line for other people. That was your life, bro. That is your life.
I thought about that shit the other day because I was my son was 5 months old, my oldest son. He's 11 now. And that Father's Day weekend, I sat there with my foot in a boot watching the news, and they keep talking about they're going to announce the name of the cop that was in the shooting, and you start thinking crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, man, am I gonna get in trouble? Kind of like all the stuff that's going on now. You know, that's all that creeps in your brain. And I'm like, man, I could have got killed, and then my second son would have never been born.
Yes. Your whole life just flashed by your eyes, man. When you look at your seeds and you look at, you know, your legacy, your life that you put, like you're actually a freaking hero, bro.
Well, we thank you, first of all, but
nah, you should have thanked me at first. I don't take the thank you now. Nope, I'm just messing with you, brother.
No, but you had my mind spinning. I mean, we got Officer Monroe and I, the other officer, we got to go to Washington, D.C. in I think it's 2013. Or 2014. Yes, 2014. And we were National Officers of the Month. They only gave out one a month, right? And we were in D.C. Police Week, surrounded by all this like positive, you know, but it was also terribly sad because they announced all the fallen officers and you're seeing the families, and it's almost like it started building more survivors' guilt in me over the years, you know, and that's what the PTSD, you know, everything just kind of went that direction, weight gain, all kinds of, you know, heart disease, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, I did a documentary, Cops in Cabins, where they took 8 cops and we went into the Blue Ridge Mountains. And most of the guys were retired, and it was just 3 days of just, you know, we're older guys. It's not like we're fraternity guys going to do anything crazy. Hanging out, drinking, telling stories, barbecuing. And
that sounds fun.
It was cool. And you know what? It was a safe zone. You know, there was nobody to go back and tell your bosses that you're saying shit about them or whatever. Because we do. So, I mean, we're just like the regular public. Everything that goes out in the regular jobs, we have the same stuff going on, right? And one of the guys was a cop and a filmmaker, and he documented it. He did a whole little like 19-minute documentary on it. And I saw myself in it, and I break down and cry. I always cry in every podcast. That's just my signature now, because PTSD stuff pops up at different moments, you know, like sitting there with the bad guy before the chase was on and him waiting for me to approach the car, and I'm just sitting there.
Okay.
About 5 seconds. That stuff will pop up, and I'll start breaking down because I'm like, holy shit, that was close, you know? So anyways, that weekend was so therapeutic talking to those guys, and I saw the video and I was about 245 pounds. I didn't look well. And
what?
he's touching rim and stuff. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, dude, you lost like 50 pounds? He's like, yeah, it's this keto diet. And I'm like, keto? I never even heard of it, right? And I just kind of read up on it and kind of got away from processed foods and seed oils and kind of got towards real food, whether it's organic, grass-fed beef, even the, I don't do vegetables much anymore, but even the berries that we feed our kids. My wife made, sourdough bread on her own without all those ingredients. And
Wow.
I just kind of started fasting more. And man, within freaking 6 months, I was down 50 pounds.
Before we even move forward, I just want to say thank you for sitting down with me. I appreciate you being available, making yourself available with all you got going on. I looked into your story. You're a pretty remarkable young man, man. We can sit here for days and just talk and still wouldn't be able to cover even a drop of your history of everything that you've done throughout your lifetime. I mean, you are a legacy when it comes to being in the police force. I believe your mom was a detective as well, or a cop before. Yeah. And they actually have a Netflix series where they're about your mom. Well, your mom is a cop that's portraying your mom in this Netflix series, and your mom was older at the time. Am I correct, or am I off?
She was there in the cocaine cowboy wars of the late 70s, 80s with the Black Widow, Griselda Blanco, and my mom being a Cuban female on the police force that had light skin, she looked like a white girl. They used her undercover a lot to go into these establishments and listen to these Colombian cartels talking business, and she just looks like some dopey girl.
Wow.
And she be getting all the intel. Like, I was 10 years old. I had no idea my mom was doing any of this, because I would never.
Mom was a badass, bro.
She's like 5'2". She was very. I mean, she's still a beautiful woman to me. She's still my mom. But back then, there wasn't a lot of. She got hired in 75. So by 79, when this, they started just killing people at Dayland Mall and all this craziness. So we got contacted. Some guy goes, "Hey, my name's so-and-so. I'm an executive producer with this show on Netflix called Narcos. You ever heard of it?" Like, Narcos? Man,
yeah.
I watched all that stuff, right? I go, "Why are you calling me?" I start getting excited, right? I'm like, "Oh, they're calling me," right? And they're like, "We'd like to talk to your mom." I'm like, "Mom got me again." So, but she's got, her story's fascinating. And they ended up going out there. They sent some agents and writers to the house in Tennessee where they're at, because she moved from Miami to Tennessee to get out after she retired. So they're up there, and everything that my mom and my stepdad, who was one of the lead investigators back then, they're just writing down everything, man.
Your mom and your stepdad.
All their stories.
My gracious. Well, first of all, I want to tell everyone, I am sitting here with the Eric Reynolds. You call yourself Keto, or a Keto 5? Keto 50. Keto 50. I believe the 50 comes from policing. I don't know what 50 means.
No, Hawaii 50, right? Back in the day.
Oh, like Hawaiian 50.
Over in my neck of woods down here, right? When we go driving in certain areas, it's 50, 50, 50.
It is 50. It's
well,
50.
When I lost all that weight at the police department, people noticed. We're about 160, 170 man department, and they're like, "Man, Eric, how'd you lose all that weight?" And I was like, "Man, I tried this stuff called keto." And I started explaining, because then I got empowered, because I know it can help other people. It wasn't just about me and working out. I knew, because I tried everything else everyone ever had tried. All the different diets, weight watch, whatever. I've tried it, right? And nothing was working. I found something that was working and made perfect sense by eliminating toxins, let your body burn off the glucose that you've turned into fat in your body, and find another fuel source, which turned out to be ketones. So I got all into it. So one of my buddies lost 50 pounds. He was just calling me Keto 50. He's like, "Hey, Keto 50. Oh, thank you, my man," right? And I'm like, Keto 50. And I had a chat group going on my phone. I just opened up a little Facebook group. Let's see where this goes, And then I got my nutrition's license over 2020. Really started to network that way. And then just trying to camp, and I run into that flag incident up in New York, where they're trying to kick me out of a campground for flying the thin blue line flag.
What flag? What kind of flag?
All right, you have the thin blue line flag, right?
Okay.
It's been used as cops. Supposedly it's a racist thing against BLM, but my whole life, the thin blue line flag was the difference between order and chaos. And that line moves based on what the public laws are or whatever, you know, public opinion is.
Okay.
And it goes back to like the 1700s when the Scottish helped the British beat the Russians. And what happened was the Scottish were just, there wasn't enough of them, but they held the line and it became the thin red line back then. So that ended up going into knighthood and, you know, storybooks or whatever. And one captain back in the 20s or something, there's a corrupt department like a Scorpio, or what was that one? I forgot. I was going to say Scorpio. And he brought something in to give the guys pride.
Okay.
The thin blue line, don't cross it. We're all on this side of it. They got rid of some of the riffraff. You know, there's still corruption. I mean, it happens every line of work.
Absolutely.
So that's what it always meant. So I put my flag up, different campsites as I camp, because, you know, we sold our house, bought an RV, we homeschooled. That's a whole nother freaking crazy scenario of awesomeness, you know.
Absolutely.
Can't believe how much fun I'm having. And we get to the campground and put my flag out, and kids are playing, and a guy rolls up in a golf cart, didn't get out, didn't introduce himself. He had a shirt on. I knew he worked there. And he told me to take the flag down. I thought he was messing around. And he goes, no, you need to take it down. So I turn on my phone. And I go, hey, man, which is weird, me turning on the phone, you know, telling on somebody, because usually I was the one being filmed on different police calls. So it was weird to be on that side of it.
Yeah.
It's like, he starts talking, he starts telling me again, and dude, man, I got dead cops on my arm, you know, and I got hot. And I got into the red so fast because of PTSD, and I dropped some profanity on him. I didn't touch him. Looked like I did, though, when I stopped the video, because everyone's like, what happened?
Oh, wow.
I walked away hot as hell. And then I was really just I was so in the red, dude. And my wife went out there trying to calm things. The manager came over. She starts threatening to kick us out if we don't take this flag down. And I can't understand it, right? I'm just losing it. Mm-hmm. And I come out, my wife calms it down. I come out, stir it all up again. She's like, get back in the house, you know? And I'm like, shit, I'm acting like those nutcases I've handled calls with, right? Literally, right? So I run back in, and finally I decide, all right, I'm going to sleep on it. I took the flag down because it's their property. I hung it in my truck. They can't tell me what to do inside my truck. And I slept on it. Everyone's like, leave the campground. I wouldn't stay, blah, blah, blah. And my wife goes, you know what? What if we put all your cop stuff that you have in this trailer outside? So our police blanket became the tablecloth. All my police t-shirts became chair covers.
Wow.
Right? And I had people walking up in the campsite going, yeah, they made me take down my police flag last week. And I'm looking around, I'm seeing Canadian flags, I'm seeing military flags. I'm fine for all that, right? Whatever you want to fly, I'm fine with it. And I go, you know what? We're going to turn this thing around. So I put it out there on Twitter or whatever. I wasn't big. I wasn't trying to be Mr. Social because I'm retired. I'm just trying to camp with my family and see the country. You know?
Right.
And the COVID happened and everything went crazy. So
what state was this in?
New York.
New York. Makes sense. This is making sense now. Okay.
2 hours outside of NYC. And I was only over there because my wife's from Brooklyn and we're 2 hours so her family could come see the camper. It was supposed to be a positive thing. But
Brooklyn, stand up. They always say that. I don't know why, but okay.
We stayed 8 days.
Okay.
The news came out and did a story. The Hudson Valley News came out, and then Big Frog Radio interviewed me on the radio, and then Thousand Trails, our camping club that campsite's part of, they suspend me for 2 months because of being belligerent to employees. So then I put that out there. I'm like, well, guess what they did? They suspended me. And then everyone got pissed. Cops start canceling their memberships, you know, and then I started getting campsites all over upstate New York, started offering my family and us a 3-week stay on them. Bring our flag, bring our camper and our family. And we would get there and the hospitality is fantastic. Local cops are coming out, just shaking my hand. I'm like, I'm just a dude that was, you know, just trying to fly a flag. And I also meet clients that way on my nutrition side because it breaks the ice.
So I have a question about that because faced discrimination, and that's pretty much the short of it. He saw your flag. Whoever the gentleman was that represented that campground already chose his side, And he looked at your flag as disrespectful and as demeaning to another group for some strange reason.
Well, he shook my hand and said, "Hey, man, we had an issue with the flag and some BLM flags here last year during the whole, remember everyone was rioting and all upset." Right. This incident happened 2021, so it's a year later.
Yeah.
And I guess they just wanted to stop it from happening again because they had some real problems back then. So they just
he didn't want to see a whole lot pop off and
right. So they outlawed both, but he didn't tell me that. If he would have got out, shook my hand, "Hey, Jim, whatever. I know you're a veteran, whatever, or love what you guys do. We had some issues last year. I don't want you to be a target for anything that could happen." And you know what? I probably would have thought about doing something different.
Yes.
Change the whole approach.
Yes.
And I've seen it on calls. I mean, we have the situation calm, and then one of our hothead cops shows up and kicks the hornet's nest, and we're like, "Geez, dude." But there's a way, it's like verbal judo. You can talk to people rationally and kind of sometimes guide them in the right direction. But there was none of that on that date. And I looked kind of bad on it, and I didn't like the way I looked. And then I was at a rally they had for me. All of a sudden I started having rallies. People are like, truck stops or something. There's a bunch of thin blue line flags, and it was
the blue line flag meant Blue Lives Matter.
I was never told that it meant Blue Lives Matter until you start seeing the Blue Lives Matter battling with BLM stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, the flag was always just a symbol of police and our group. You have the red. The red's for firemen, the gray is for corrections. I think the pink is for nurses. And green could be for military, or it could be for PB, like deputies that we have down here.
Right.
So that's all it ever was to me till 2020, man. It was crazy.
Wow, get out of here, man. Well, you know what? Everyone's so triggered nowadays. Like, as soon as they see something that they believe is disrespectful, they're like, "Man, we're going on it." And I don't know who reported you and why it was even reportable, but I understand if it was in 2021, the tensions at that time was like ridiculous, super crazy.
And we pretty much traveled through the South, Tennessee, North Carolina, Kentucky, and we worked our way through Pennsylvania up to New York, and everything was all right. I mean, we weren't going in any big cities. We weren't going to Philly,
We weren't going to Philly.
Not driving through with my camper and all my thin blue line stuff on it. I wasn't going to have anything crazy, but yeah, it was. But you know what? It turned something like that into such a positive thing later. Because the first campground that reached out to me said, "Hey, man," after we got there, I started thinking, would you ever host like a cops event, like where we just have cops that want to camp? I mean, eventually, yeah, we want firemen, first responders, anyone that likes cops, whatever. And he goes, "Yeah, let's do it next year." So Scott at this Spruce Row campground he gets the ball rolling. He's got a band of former cops that play like country and rock music, and they'll have like chicken barbecue. And we had the Army National Guard out there.
I like some chicken barbecue.
You can't go, even though I'm trying to get him to eat right, I got to get him to the party first, right? So I can't cut everything out.
Yeah,
so
that's right. You got to get him there.
So